All right, how's it going? I'm Steve from Steve's True History and Knowledge channel, coming to you from San Diego, California. And welcome to my new presentation. It is called The Pygmies and the Storm God. I don't mean to offend anybody with using the name Pygmies. I'm only using it because that's what the 19th century scholars used for the African hunter-gatherers. Particularly the Pygmies were the smaller Africans, smaller stature, very short, who lived in the rainforest in Central Africa mostly. So each one of these presentations is a piece of the puzzle, and I just keep moving forward all the way from the past to the present, and I believe this is number 20 in the series. So I hope you enjoy it, and let's get into it. So the Pygmies and the Storm God. The origin of the Creator. The myths and rituals that had left Africa prior to the L3 haplogroup ancestry were Sudanic, with Eastern and Central African beliefs, including animal spirits and hunting. There was no high god or monotheism at the time. The power that was the creator was either female or male, male and female, combined, and it organized the cosmos into 4 directions and 4 divisions that complemented each other on an axis seen as a circle with a cross in it, and included nature, life, balance, or duality, and had opposites which were positive and negative. The archaeology seems to show that these people moved out of Africa with these beliefs at about 80,000 years ago and during the MIS 5A period. It seems to be known now that the L3 haplogroup originated in the Sudan, where Nubia was. These people spread out across the world and practiced these beliefs and retained these mythologies and traditions that they created. Soares believes that they left Africa because of the wetter climate that occurred at the time that increased the population, causing a need or a want to expand. This and symbology also spread across North Africa, moving west. N and M haplogroups and pygmy evolution. The N haplogroup, a branch off from L3, arose in Arabia, and R branched from N, and U branched from R. M, also from L3, is not found in Arabia. It is found in the Persian Gulf and Pakistan. Later, many thousands of years later, over time, there were several back migrations into North Africa. Churchwood says that the African pygmies evolved from the more primitive Homo erectus ape in the Great Lakes region and Upper White Nile Valley. The Pygmies and Nilotics. He says that they were little red men and cousins to the Bushmen or San. They use a monosyllabic language, and their beliefs are the same as the San. He identifies the Masaba and the Nilotics, or Nile River people, as evolving next, and that the Nilotics were aggressive and competed with the smaller Pygmies who were already there and drove them out of their own territory into isolated areas. Outside of Africa are Negrillos found in Asia, in the Pacific Islands like the Philippines, and that they came from the African Pygmies. And to the right you see some examples of African Pygmies here. The Pygmy beliefs. The Pygmies do not use a standard or a totem to identify themselves. They believe that there is something greater than themselves and describe it as a great spirit. They also believe that nature and earth have powers and that the dead become spirits. They perform with symbolism to music and dance. And they do not have mythical stories. They do not perform any kind of initiations and do not believe in magic. Nilotics and the Pygmies. The Nile River people are the ones who created symbology and totemism to distinguish themselves from one another. Churchwood says that they brought a hero cult with them outside of Africa and entered the outside world outside of Africa after the Pygmies did. The Nubians came after their original Nilotic ancestors. The Pygmy men hunted, and both men and women gathered and stayed in one location for a few months at a time. They built huts for shelter. It's probable that the Pygmies have a belief in an ancestral hunter god. To the right here we see examples of Nuer Nilotic people from Sudan. The Nubian complex and the Eye of Ra. Churchwood believes that there was another group of people who created mythologies based on what they saw in the night sky and the stars, and that they existed 260,000 years ago. 260,000 years ago would be near to the beginning of the Nubian complex discussed in previous videos, and it was based on hunting or possibly warfare. Let's remember the Nubian complex in Africa is found in modern-day Nubia and in Egypt and continues to expand across the Red Sea and into Arabia and also in Ethiopia. If you look at the pattern of their settlements, it creates a circle around the Red Sea. And I'm calling that the Eye of Ra. The Nubian complex, their origin was in Sudan and Nubia. They created weapons out of flint, stone, and tools. This tool technology is found 100,000 years later in the Egyptian deserts. The earliest site is Taramsa I in northern Egypt and next to the Assyrian culture. In Nubia, they are found at Sai Island, a very ancient site. In Ethiopia, they are found in the Lake Ziwe region near Addis Ababa and Garimoda. And to the right here, we see some examples of some flint stone tools and weapons. The Nubian complex. The Nubian complex was a well-organized settlement system that chose specific locations where the hunting would be good. We don't know if they're hunting animals or humans here, right? We're assuming that it's animals, but it's possibly that this is based on warfare. The authors say that the steel bait industry would be the best place to research the origin of the Nubian complex. However, this would put us all the way in South Africa, and this is likely wrong, as the evidence points to the origin being in Nubia itself. The Nubian complex disappears about 60,000 years ago in most places, except for the Eastern Sahara and the Red Sea hills. The Nilotics and the gods Set and Heru. These Nubian complex people were early Nile River people, and therefore probably are the same Nilotics mentioned by Churchwood, who says that they were the first to have Set or Sut as their god. That they left Africa with their beliefs in Set, and that a similar Nilotic group like them left Africa afterwards, but with the beliefs in Heru or Horus, the hero. They were called the followers of Heru. Both were associated with the stars above. After them came the lunar, then the solar, and then the Christian cults. I disagree with this last statement. The solar is the Christian cult. I would say that this separation would be just that the Christian cult has become more evolved than the solar, but it's still Christian in its beginnings and foundation. The Pygmy tribes. It's possible that Churchwood may be confused on his timing, or that he's speaking of the legend of Heru, his followers, and Ra driving Set and his followers out of Egypt. Churchwood names 6 Pygmy tribes: the Aka, the Balia, the Tiki Tiki, the Batwa, the Wambuta, and the Banzungu. All of these still exist today, and some in the Philippine Islands. They have been victims of extermination. They use the moon to tell time, and their elders are respected and taken care of, or else they will be judged by the Great Spirit. Pygmies are connected to the serpent. They hunt and gather and move from one place to the other every few months, but at each location they build an altar where they leave food for the spirits of the dead. Churchwood quotes a Mr. Gill, who said that these Pygmy tribes venerate the great serpent and believe that their spirits enter this serpent. This lets us know that serpent veneration existed prior to the Egyptian dynastic period. This shows their belief that they continued to live as a spirit after death and created symbology for it. And they will not harm any snakes because of this. The storm god. Churchwood says that this is not reincarnation. However, I would argue against this, as if the father or the mother's spirit enters the snake and then can talk, then what else would you call this? These Pygmy tribes associate storms, thunder, and lightning with fear, and perform a ritual to the storm by waving their hands in the air. They offer propitiation to these elemental powers. They tie leaves to a stick and wave it around in the air while the storm is taking place, and they whistle and they ask for help for the Great Spirit. Think of the whistling in chaos that we see going on today. Can you give an example? Churchwood seems to think that this is the origin of religion. However, it would be impossible to make this claim. The Pygmy chief. These tribes recognized the power of the storms and that it was far more powerful than themselves. That something bigger than themselves created these storms. These Pygmy tribes also have chiefs who are leaders of their people and whom they venerate when they die. It's necessary to give the chief a proper burial, or else they will be displeased with the people in the afterlife as a spirit and will show this displeasure. The displeased chiefs may be seen as the creator of the storms. And I wanted to give you a picture of a Pygmy chief, but I couldn't come up with any good examples. So here we just have some more examples of some Pygmies here. Bibliography, there's several. We use James Harold again, Pedrosaurus, Deborah Olszewski, The Nubian Complex, um, Van Peer, also The Nubian Complex, Churchwood, Origin Evolution, Churchwood Signs and Symbols. That's it for this one. Thank you for listening. Take care and have a good evening.